The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic. For 70 years, a New Year's Day tradition in Dallas, Texas. Famous teams, famous players, rich pageantry, and some unforgettable moments.
Montana calls the signals. He's dropping back. He looks toward the end zone. He throws it. It's a touchdown!
Today, the Nebraska Cornhuskers bring their storied program to Big D.
And Rogers gets away. Look at that. Johnny Rogers. Look at the move by that sensational player.
Quarterback Zach Taylor sends Teva Taylor in motion. Bootleg to the right over the middle for Teva Taylor. Catches in the end zone. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Another storied tradition lies with Auburn.
Jackson, a foot race in midfield. Goes to the A&M 45, the 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. He's going to go. Touchdown, Auburn.
It's the AT&T Cotton Bowl. The Cotton Bowl Bash here on Fox. A sellout crowd, as you would expect. A perfect day in Dallas as the Auburn Tigers face the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And this is just part of the menu of bowl games that you'll see here on Fox. The Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl later. Tomorrow, the Orange Bowl. Wednesday, the Sugar Bowl. And next Monday, the BCS National Championship game between Ohio State and Florida. And here's the Auburn coach with his last instructions, Tommy Tuberville, to his Auburn team.
When you go out there, they're not going to do a whole lot. I mean, they're going to test you very early. So just get after it. Defense, you're going to see reversals, screen. Anytime you play a game in a bowl game, you're going to see all kind of funny things early. Then everybody will settle down.
They are serious. Both coaches, both Bill Callahan of Nebraska and Tommy Tuberville, whom you just heard, about their team's participation in this game. I'm Pat Summerall, along with Brian Baldinger. And Brian, you think of Nebraska, and you think of big guys and running the ball and grind it out, but that's not necessarily the case.
Well, I thought of that too, Pat, and then we went out to practice this week, and we saw footballs flying all over the place. And so Bill Callahan, in his third year at Nebraska, brought the West Coast offense with him from the NFL, and he's got a quarterback. Zach Taylor is his name. He's a senior from Norman, Oklahoma, and he's the only quarterback in the history of this program to throw for over 3,000 yards in a year. So they can throw the ball, but they also have a bunch of talented tailbacks they can hand it to. So it's a very diversified offense, and look for good balance this afternoon.
And Auburn, Tommy Tuberville, you heard him talk to his team. You think of speed when you think about Auburn, but what do we expect this afternoon?
Well, I think you're going to see that speed because, they come from the Southeast Conference, and they're the only team in the country to defeat two BCS bowl teams this year. They beat LSU, and they beat Florida, so they feel pretty good about what they can do, and they're healthy. And so you think about Auburn, you think about running backs, and they got a good one in Kenny Irons. He's healthy this year for the first time. He's going to get the ball a lot behind a senior, dominant, big, and talented offensive line.
Brian, here comes Auburn ready to take the field, and they've established sort of a new routine that they do when they come out on the field. They hook arms with their head coach, and here they come. A sign of unity. This is a solid football program. Out of the Southeastern Conference, they're terrific. Nebraska out of the tunnel. They come out of the same tunnel as Auburn. And the red herd from Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. Both teams, the dressing rooms, the locker rooms are just across the side from that tunnel. So obviously they both come out of the same tunnel. Auburn came out first. And now here's Bill Callahan and his Nebraska Cornhuskers.
The last time Nebraska took the field was the Big 12 championship game in Kansas City on December 4th. And it was a bitter defeat. And that bitter taste still lingers in their mouth. They want to wash it out today with the victory against Auburn.
Both coaches and the players to a man. Some people think of these bowl games as a little bit of a preseason exhibition type game, but not these two. They've worked hard and they value their presence here. We'll be back for the kickoff right after this.
Happy New Year. AT&T welcomes you to a great American holiday tradition, the AT&T Cotton Bowl on Fox. Enjoy the game.
Thank you, Jose Gutierrez, and welcome back to the Cotton Bowl. At this time, let's join public address announcer Bill Melton.
Ladies and gentlemen, now at midfield for today's coin toss are the team captains for Auburn University and the University of Nebraska, along with Jose Gutierrez representing AT&T, Cotton Bowl Athletic Association Chairman Bruce Gadd, and other Cotton Bowl Athletic Association officers. The referee for today's 71st AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic is Todd Gearlings from the Big Ten Conference.
And now let's welcome in the third member of our crew. Down on the sideline is Krista Voda.
Good job, buddy. Way to go, man. Perfect. Perfect. Good job. Thank you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
We had a little technical problem with our communications with Krista, but we'll be back to her. Nebraska Cornhuskers, coached by Bill Callahan. He had a Super Bowl champion not too long ago with the Oakland Raiders, but he loves the college game.
It's been a long time at Wisconsin with Barry Alvarez there as the offensive line coach. Came with Ray Rhodes to the Philadelphia Eagles. Left with John Gruden to go to the Oakland Raiders and took a team to a Super Bowl. This Auburn team, Pat, the senior class has won 40 games, trying to go for their 41st win, and that's unmatched in Auburn history.
That's pretty remarkable when you think about that.
Yeah.
Auburn won the toss and deferred. So Nebraska will be on offense first. There's quite a bit of wind on the field, which you obviously can't tell from our picture, but that'll be a factor, and it's cold. We were down on the field just a moment ago, and Tommy Tuberville came over to talk to us and said, I said, how you feeling, Coach? He said, I'm cold. We haven't had a cold game all year long.
They got one today.
Clark's kickoff sails out of the end zone, so Nebraska will take over at the 20. Zach Taylor is their quarterback, and we watched him in practice, and he knows how to throw. He's a good passer, and he's absorbed a lot of this offense.
Bill Callahan told us that he didn't have a quarterback in professional football that could take on as much information as he can and spit it out. He's extremely impressed by the mental part of what he can do.
Of all things, he's from Norman, Oklahoma. Overlooked, I guess you had to say, by the Sooners. Nothing on first down. The Auburn defense has been and is very quick, particularly the linebackers. Here's the offensive line. Big as you would expect. Patrick, Murtha, the two tackles. Andy Christensen, one guard. Mike Huff, the other. The backs and receivers, Dane Todd, the academic All-American. Brandon Jackson starts at tailback. Marlon Lucky, I beg your pardon, starts at tailback. For Jackson had been scheduled, but here's a look at that Auburn defense. Pretty much standard. The defensive line, a front four. They play the 4-3. The three linebackers are very mobile. Merrill Johnson, Will Herring will keep an eye on him. And the secondary. David Irons, brother of Kenny Irons, the running back. One of the cornerbacks. Nebraska back to throw it. Pass complete. Purify makes the reception on the pass from Zach Taylor. 9-yard pickup, a yard short.
Classic West
Beg your
Coast.
pardon. That's a first down.
Yeah, the classic West Coast slant right there to Purify. Little 3-yard route, but got inside the defender, and Nebraska gets that first down, and they hang on to the ball and, try to get in a little rhythm now.
Lucky. Better than Lucky.
This Nebraska program, got the lifeblood of all these teams is recruiting. That Marlon Lucky is from Hollywood, California. I was talking to Bill Callahan about him before the game. I said, how'd you get him out of there? They said they wanted to get him away from the bad elements of the neighborhood, get him out in the cornfields of Nebraska. And he's earned his starting spot here today.
Got the first down. Needed about a yard. They got more.
One thing that we talked to both coaches about, Pat, the Auburn hasn't played a football game in 6 weeks. Bill Callahan's team hasn't played since the Big 12 championship game. So how do you stay sharp if you haven't been playing games? And heck, we watched both these teams in practice, live scrimmaging, hitting. They've been going at it between each other now for 2 weeks after the exams, trying to stay sharp.
Both of them very upbeat practices. A lot of contact, as you mentioned, and a lot of quickness. The balls don't touch the ground very much.
No.
Nebraska's been able to move so far. Thomas swings it outside, and he's got some room. This is Lucky. And Lucky is better than that. Into Auburn territory across the 35, an 18-yard pickup.
Well, watch right here. Here's the key guy for Auburn, Marquise Groves. And they really throw it right over him. He blitzes from the outside. They read it. Zach Taylor gets rid of the ball on timing. Just get the ball out into your athletes. Get the ball out into the hands of a guy like Marlon Lucky. Let him do what he does best there. Get rid of the ball quickly. 3 steps, this ball is out in this offense.
The eye back is Lucky again. That's a little bit of a surprise that he started. And he gets another carry and gets some more yards. Patrick Lee made the stop.
But I think one of the reasons why Marlon Lucky is out there, you know, is that Marlon Jackson broke his hand in the last game. He broke his right hand in the Big 12 championship game in a loss to Oklahoma. He says the hand is fine, but I think that, you know, first drive, you want to get the ball in a guy that's really sure-handed. You don't want any kind of turnovers to start a game.
Still Lucky. Let's see if he is. About 3, right side. Stopped by Merrill Johnson.
We were talking to a bunch of the Nebraska players in practice the other day, and you mentioned that, you know, you used to see Nebraska just run the football. They still have the corn-fed kids there that live in the weight room, you know, that build themselves up, build their bodies up. That's what their line is, and that's what this offensive line is doing right now, taking control.
Purify again. Flag on the play. The officials for today's game are from the Big Ten.
Offensive interference, the preliminary call.
Offensive interference.
The Purify is big. He's 6'4", 215 pounds.
And both the Auburn cornerbacks are kind of on the smaller side, smaller than he, certainly.
Oh, yeah, there's a big height advantage on the outside. Yeah. Lee getting the start today for Auburn. Patrick Lee, a junior. They started him today. He's 6 foot tall. He's their tallest cornerback, but still 4 or 5 inches shorter than Purify.
Still Lucky will be the deep back. Dane Todd, the fullback, with him. Zach Taylor drops back in the shotgun. Shuttle pass to Lucky. Good call, good play, good result. Down inside the 30 to about the 26.
Very good call, Pat. Well, that's the type of situation where Auburn was coming after him. They spread him out. Just a little shovel pass. This is the type of play you'd never seen Nebraska run under Tom Osborne or Frank Solich for years.
19-yard pickup and another Big Red first down.
See the motion and shifting every play before the snap.
Lucky again. Blockers in front.
You know, Pat, when Bill Callahan came to Nebraska, he didn't have instant success. He had a team that was an option team, I-option team, and they like to run the football, and he didn't have the type of players that were used to throwing it and catching it. And he caught a lot of grief his first year at Nebraska, saying, what are you doing running the West Coast offense in Lincoln, Nebraska? But Bill is steadfast in his belief about how to run a program, how to run an offense, and I think the fans in Lincoln and the Nebraska nation are catching on.
Moreover, his recruiting is starting to grab hold now. He recruited. Todd Peterson.
This Zach Taylor's a good story, though.
Yes, he is.
Now, this Zach Taylor was recruited out of Norman, Oklahoma to go to Wake Forest. Nobody really came after him. He was a redshirt there. Freshman year, didn't play, transferred to Butler Community College in El Diablo, Kansas. Played a year there. Callahan was looking for a quarterback, went to the junior college ranks, and it couldn't have worked out any better for Zach Taylor. And he would tell you that the way it's worked out, 3 colleges for his 5 years, this is the best it could have been.
And he said, frankly, he was not recruited at Oklahoma. He only weighed about 165 pounds when that recruiting time came. Our first down line is brought to you by AT&T.
Been a sponsor here for this Cotton Bowl game with Fox for the 11th straight season now.
They have delivered.
They do, don't they?
Yeah. 3rd and 7. Been 11 plays in this drive. Lucky has touched the ball 9 of the 11. Dane Todd standing back next to Zach Taylor in the shotgun.
Good!
Terrence Nunn, the wide receiver.
That's a pinpoint pass. Watch this route. When you see the sticks there at the yellow line, goes right to the yellow line, and the ball is delivered on timing. Now, we were watching practice at Texas Stadium, watching this Nebraska team play the other day, and I never saw a quarterback throw more passes in practice than Zach Taylor did. I mean, he must have thrown 200 passes.
We asked him after, how many passes did he throw? And he said, I don't really know. 400 or 500.
A lot.
Marlon Lucky again. About the 10-yard line, just inside the 10. Pickup of 6.
Well, you know, you mentioned that when Zach Taylor was coming out of Norman, Oklahoma, he was about 160 pounds. Nobody recruited him. But the best way for a quarterback to strengthen his arm is actually to throw the ball. And the more he throws it, the stronger his arm gets.
And that's what he said. So my arm used to get tired. No more. Here's Lucky again. Loss. Back to about the 12. It's a good-looking drive by Nebraska to start this game.
Well, it's good balance right now. Yeah. You know, Zach Taylor has been accurate when he's had to throw it, but Lucky has been controlling the line of scrimmage.
Will Herring made the stop, and we'll be mentioning that name a lot.
Will Herring is starting his 49th game for Auburn. Never missed a game.
Dane Todd, the fullback, is back alongside Zach Taylor, who's going to throw it. Touchdown. Nate Swift, the wide receiver, brings it in. Good throw from Zach Taylor, and this Nebraska team, any indication that they might not have taken this seriously, you can forget about that.
Not just that, Pat, but they came out super sharp. Nate Swift on the outside here, runs a little crossing route to purify and frees him up.
Extra point by Jordan Congdon, and it's 7-0 Nebraska. Pretty impressive drive. 7 minutes 37 left to play in the first quarter. Back at the Cotton Bowl, Pat Summerall with Brian Baldinger. 15 plays, 80 yards. They kept the ball 7 minutes 23 seconds. A sharp-looking drive. That's the 8th time this year that Nebraska has scored with the opening drive. So they've been effective before.
That's the wind you're talking about right there, Pat, blowing the ball right off the tee. That wind didn't bother Zach Taylor in that passing game of Nebraska's at all.
Jordan Congdon. Back deep is Tristan Davis. Short kick.
Free ball.
Kick. Free ball, yes. And a scramble. I don't know if that was on purpose or not.
Well, it hit a
but it was
spot.
effective.
Yeah. Now take a look at this protection that Zach Taylor had to throw. Auburn came with the blitz, but they wadded them all up in there. And everybody just kind of, all those red shirts just banded together, built a pretty good fence up front. Callahan has a good reaction, so does Zach Taylor. Yeah, that's how you want to start a bowl game.
Auburn will start from about their own 21. Irons the deep back, and he gets the carry. Brandon Cox is the quarterback for the Auburn Tigers. 61% of his passes complete this year. Over 2,000 yards at junior. He's been bothered by health problems, but now things seem to have gotten back together, and he said he feels good. Short gain for Irons. Got a couple. 2nd and 8. Got more than a couple this time. Kenny Irons still on his feet outside the 35. That's typical of an Irons run. Here's the offensive line for the Auburn Tigers. Ben Grubbs, the stalwart of that group. King Dunlap, the tackle, is 6'9½". Easy to pick out. The backs and receivers, Kenny Irons, the tailback. Courtney Taylor. First down Auburn. 14-yard run by Kenny Irons, and he'll get it again. And fake it to Irons. This is incomplete pass. That was Ford. For Nebraska, the defensive unit, headed by the two ends, Jay Moore and Adam Carricker. They both hope to play some more after the college days are over. The linebackers, Bo Rude's name we'll be mentioning throughout the afternoon, and the secondary. Irons deep and way deep. No place to go for Kenny Irons. That Nebraska defense, big and strong, led by those two defensive ends.
Yeah, Stuart Bradley tied for the league, the team lead in tackles, but yeah, those guys, Carricker and Moore, we met with them after practice the other day, and real enjoyable talking to them. They're both born in Nebraska, grew up Nebraska fans, and they couldn't wait to get to the weight room.
Right.
They weren't going to break a date with the weight room even during the bowl.
They were working out at Texas Stadium. There is no weight room there. They had to go to a local high school.
They found it.
Yes, they did. Brandon Cox is swarmed under. Hit first by the cornerback on a blitz. Taken down by Carricker. One of those two defensive ends we talked about.
Watch this. Here's Carricker here. He's going to run a stunt. Coming around the outside. He gets freed. And there's no getting away from Adam Carricker. He rolled up his sleeves the other day, and there's just a slab of meat there. It is all beef.
I don't know if he rolled them up or they wouldn't stay down.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Good punt. I mean, this is a dandy. Grigsby on the return, breaks one tackle and another. And a good return by Grigsby up to the 38-yard line. All Nebraska so far. 24-yard return after an excellent punt. 7-0. Nebraska leads, and Bill Callahan's pretty happy about that.
53.
Back at the 71st Cotton Bowl, Pat Summerall with Brian Baldinger. Nebraska leading Auburn 7-0. 4:49 left to play in the first quarter, and Nebraska has owned this game so far.
Nebraska does something coming off of timeouts when they just line up and they go run a play. They don't huddle up coming off the sideline.
Marlon Lucky is still the tailback behind Zach Taylor. And Lucky gets the carry. And again, he gets good yardage. Marks, the defensive tackle.
The defensive coordinator of Auburn is Will Muschamp, and he came from the Miami Dolphins. He was with Nick Saban last year, but prior to that, he was with Nick Saban at LSU, helped them win a national championship a couple of years back, and he runs kind of a pro-style defense. They can run a 3-4 front, 3 down defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, or 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. There are multiple. Nebraska doesn't seem to be having any problem with whatever they're doing.
No, they don't. They've got things figured out. Lucky again. And again, good yardage. First down, Nebraska across midfield.
Now we're 7 stories up here at the Cotton Bowl. We're about as high up as you can get. You can see those holes from up here just form. Watch it right off of the left side here.
Aaron Savage made the tackle.
Yeah, I mean, look at that hole. I mean, nobody got a hand on him until he was 10 yards down the field.
Lucky has been very effective so far. Here is Taylor back to throw again. Had to run, finds a man, gets his fullback Dane Todd. 4-yard pickup. Todd won't carry the ball very much.
Doesn't have
or
to.
catch many passes.
No, he's a fullback. He's
right.
a classic fullback. And we were at the Cotton Bowl luncheon on Saturday, Pat, and I got a chance to sit next to him. He's also their scholar athlete at Nebraska.
What does he study?
He studies biology. Pre-med students already taken his
and
medical
very
school
well,
exams.
I'd say.
Yeah, never got a B or anything like that at Nebraska.
Here's Lucky.
Pitch back to Marlon Lucky.
Dede made the stop.
Number 21.
Watch Dane Todd here lead the way on the outside. They're a 2-back offense. He has no neck. There's no neck in Dane Todd, right? And he's just muscle on top of muscle. Smart, though. Perfect 4.0 grade point average.
There's a good lesson right there. When you pick out somebody you're going to block, throw at him.
Yeah.
Go ahead and commit yourself, as he did. He's the lone setback this time. Out quick. Intercepted by Auburn's. Dede down the sideline. Dede could go all the way. Tripped up from behind. Karibi Dede. 53 yards on the return. The ricochet interception.
What do they say, Pat, about throwing the ball? There's 3 things that can happen, and 2 of them are bad, and that was one of them. The ball gets tipped like this. That was David Irons that tipped it. He was the cornerback. The brother of Kenny Irons, and Karibi Dede was the benefactor. Now he's looking for a convoy to pick up.
That would have been a very hard pass to catch. In any case. Coming back toward the quarterback and thrown maybe too hard. That's hard to say. But the ricochet landed in the enemy's hand. First down, Auburn. Here's Irons. Nothing doing. Line of scrimmage, no more. Daganduro.
Number 54, Ola Daganduro.
His Auburn team beat Florida, who's playing in the national championship game, and they won on big plays. They blocked the punt for a touchdown. So when you have speed and you have athletes, you create big plays. And that's what Auburn has been able to do this year in some big wins.
They've had a great history of outstanding running backs as well.
Ooh.
Fake is to Irons. The pass to Carl Stewart, the fullback. And this game is about to be tied. Well done.
Pretty play. Really great play action fake. Got Brandon Cox, who's a southpaw, left-hander.
Right.
Going to his left. Well designed.
They fake to Irons and threw to Stewart. For the extra point, John Vaughn. You won't miss many. And we have a tie, 7-7 at the end of the first quarter, 56 seconds left. And it's Auburn 7, Nebraska 7. Back at the Cotton Bowl, it's Auburn 7, Nebraska 7. Auburn's scoring drive after that pass interception by Dede, which was 52 yards officially, which is the 4th longest in Cotton Bowl history. A ricochet. Forget about that one. You make a lot of friends on the kickoff team when you do that as a kicker.
They too.
Let's go down to Kristen Bowden.
Guys, I talked to Coach Callahan before the game. I said, how do you counter with an Auburn team that is so fast, so physical? He said, we need to be just as physical. Our offense needs to look those big old Auburn boys square in the eye and attack, attack, attack. That's obviously what they did on that first play scoring. The Auburn defense has come back and scored. Coach Callahan said he knew the momentum was going to shift in this game. They have to adjust and keep their rhythm throughout, guys.
Thank you, Krista. We'll be back to you. That's another big hole for Marlon Lucky. And as Brian was pointing out on the last drive, the last time they had the ball, you can see him, really see him from up here.
Bill Callahan's had some big shoes to fill. I mean, Pat, I know you're friends with Tom Osborne.
Right.
Won a lot of championships, 3 championships in 4 years in the 90s. Big shoes to fill, big expectations with Big Red.
Again, the Big
Let's
Ten
get into the first quarter.
furnished the officials, and he just signaled that this is the end of the first quarter. 7-7 tie, just about what we expected. Not like we expected, but that's where we are. Exactly 1/2 century ago here at the Cotton Bowl, Syracuse hooked up with TCU. It was the national television debut of the great Jim Brown.
It is off to Brown, and Brown is over for a touchdown.
Brown almost single-handedly lifted the Orangemen to victory, kicking 3 extra points, scoring 3 rushing touchdowns, and returning kicks. However, his team fell 1 point short. Still, his performance as the game's outstanding offensive player foreshadowed what would be an even greater NFL career with the Cleveland Browns. Back at the 71st Cotton Bowl, tie score 7-7. Nebraska with the ball. They've changed directions. Nebraska should have the wind, what there is of it, at their back. A crisp, cool, perfect day in Dallas. Marlon Lucky. You'd like to be part of the tradition, Brian. Wouldn't you?
Pat, I've never seen anything like this before. That's a cornerback, Courtney Grigsby, jumping on into the huddle.
Look, and
Nebraska.
He stays up there.
Yeah, I mean that's all that beef. That's that, that Nebraska corn-fed beef in the middle there.
Nobody was surprised.
No, like they didn't even feel him. No, I tell you what. I mean, for a New Year's Eve tradition right there. Wow, that's getting out of bed in the morning.
That's a guy that wants a piece of the action.
Go on, go!
Taylor was hit just as he let the ball go, in the direction of Dane Todd. But Groves came and put the pressure on just as he let it go.
Well, you got to block Quentin Groves.
Yeah.
He's their best defensive player. He's their sack artist. He's actually what Bill Busham said about him is he's their Jason Taylor. If you think about Jason Taylor of the Miami Dolphins, he thinks this kid could play in that type of and has that type of ability. And so you better make sure you know where he is at every play.
Smith is back deep for Auburn. Dan Tishner is the punter. And the ball's loose and Auburn has it. There'll be a lot of momentum changes.
That was just dangerous.
Yeah.
Just dangerous with the ball, especially against the team that we have talked about, the team speed.
And opportunists like this look as they hook arms coming off the field after that successful turnover.
Well, Dane Todd has the ball, and he wants to flip it on the reverse, which by design looks like a pretty good looking play, except there's the speed. There's the penetration you got from Patrick Trahan.
Tristan Davis made the recovery, and Auburn has the ball quickly. 1st and 10 inside the 15. 7-7 tie. Brandon Cox changing things at the line of scrimmage. Irons gets the carry, doesn't get much.
Well, we've seen today that anytime there's a loose ball, I mean, whether it's off a tip pass or whether it's off a fake reverse on a punt, that Auburn is all over. So they've capitalized here early when Nebraska's been careless.
And Nebraska was careless with that, first of all, that play call.
Yeah.
And the execution.
Down in their own zone, Pat, 7-7. Unnecessary to make that kind of call.
Kenny Irons back deep. Cox throws cross field. Caught, but not a touchdown. Close to the end zone, but not in.
Well, that's their big play receiver, Courtney Taylor, that went up for that ball, and then you saw him get flipped.
And he's still down.
Yeah. He fell right on the back of his tailbone. Working on Grigsby, who we just saw jump into the huddle.
Jumped on top of his teammates.
He should have jumped like he did on top of his teammates to try to defend that pass.
Courtney Taylor makes an excellent leap and a good reception. That's a tough catch. Tonight, the Tostitos Bowl Bash continues with the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl as Boise State looks to compete and complete an undefeated season when they battle Oklahoma. Tostitos Bowl Bash continues tonight at 8 p.m. Irons trying to get it in for Auburn. Not quite. Tostitos Bowl Bash continues tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
That Boise State program, I mean, they're ranked ahead of Oklahoma. Who would have ever thought? Courtney Taylor looks like
Boise State might have thought.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they think big.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a statement. Big statement. Courtney Taylor looks like he's okay talking to his teammates on the sideline after that great catch and vicious hit.
Stewart and Irons. Stewart into the end zone. Second touchdown of the day for the fullback. Who is an accomplished violinist, by the way. The second time he's been in the end zone this afternoon.
So you would say he's having a virtuoso performance today?
I don't know if I would have thought of that, but
well,
I'm glad you did.
I'm on my toes here today, Pat. New Year's. I tell you, they went up and over there. A lot of guys jumping today, getting airborne, showing some good hops there.
John Vaughn for the extra point to give Auburn a 7-point lead. Nebraska took the opening kickoff and drove the length of the field, looking like they own the Cotton Bowl. Now it's Auburn after a couple of turnovers. Let's go down to Chris Devoda.
Well, this beginning of the year, perhaps no better time to recognize our U.S. military men and women, and no organization does more for that group than the USO. Joining me now, the chairman of the World Board of Governors for the USO, Bill Maul. Bill, talk a little bit about your organization.
Krista, this is our 65th year. Actually, January 1st starts the 66th year. We're in about 132 centers around the world, 80 in the U.S., about 50 abroad. Most people think of us with the USO tours, the entertainment tours. That's only about 20% of what we do. The Operation Phone Home. And our objective is, AT&T is a big sponsor of that, and we're really grateful for it.
Talk about the Operation Phone Home. How can people at home help with that, with the prepaid phone cards, I imagine?
They are prepaid phone cards, and you know, we get no federal money at all. It is supported, the USO is supported exclusively by the generosity of the American public. We have a couple of websites where you could go. USO.org is a great way to give to support the troops. And there's also a website on AT&T Cotton Bowl. There's also a phone number, 1-800-USO-SHOW, where people can go and give money to the USO.
Thank you very much, Bill. We also want to thank the folks at AT&T who are brought 100 U.S. Armed Forces men and women here enjoying the game, courtesy of AT&T.
Nebraska just ran a reverse, which Auburn stifled for a loss of yardage. Didn't surprise anybody. Brian, I know that You made a tour with the armed forces. You went to Iraq?
Yeah, I went over to Kuwait and Qatar and Iraq a couple of years ago with Marco Rivera.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys went and visited the troops. They're all following their pro and college teams over there religiously.
This is Marlon Lucky. A delayed draw. Good yardage to make up some that they lost on that reverse.
And you know, when you watch Nebraska, when they gain yards, it's right at Auburn. When they try to go wide against the speed of Auburn, they seem to struggle. When they kind of go right at them, it seems like they have more success. We asked Nebraska if they've seen a team as fast as Auburn, an SEC team. They thought Oklahoma, USC, all those teams had it.
Quick count, quick snap, incomplete.
They tried to catch Auburn off guard by just rushing that play, and I think they rushed it too much.
Flag on the play. Matt Harrion was the intended receiver.
Against Auburn. Should give Nebraska first down here.
Substitution infraction. Number 97 of the defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot results in a first down.
So it gives Nebraska a first down. Tommy Tuberville doesn't look as if he necessarily agrees with what the officials told him.
What is that? Give that official a nudge on the sideline.
Well, you were pointing out that Nebraska got their offensive unit ready in a hurry, and Auburn wasn't ready. This is Lucky. Nothing.
Watch this right here.
Aaron Savage made the tackle. Excuse me, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, that's Antonio Coleman there coming up and giving the official a little bit of a bump on the sideline. He's working with guys on the field and on the sideline.
Lucky's still the tailback. Passes out to him, and he's got some room. Cross into Auburn territory. Will Herring, the linebacker, made the stop, but somebody blew the coverage early.
Yeah, and he had an offensive lineman, Murtha, out front here, leading the way.
11-yard pickup.
Yeah, that's what you call running in the hip pocket right there.
Yeah.
His uncle, Greg Murtha, was a great player at the University of Minnesota, played in the National Football League for a while, from Hutchinson, Minnesota.
Big fellow.
Bill Callahan at the Cotton Bowl luncheon the other day thanked his wife, thanked his coaches, and then immediately thanked all the Texas high school coaches that had come and visited practice or during the week. 140 different high school coaches building that rapport that's so necessary in order to continue that lifeblood of your organization, which is recruiting.
You must take advantage of all opportunities to recruit.
Oh, he did.
Especially in Texas.
Heavy competition.
Flag on the play as the pass is complete. Our first down line, by the way, is brought to you by AT&T. Penalty marker on the play. Nate Swift.
Nate Swift has Nebraska's touchdown.
Right. Offsides Auburn.
Zach Taylor's a confident kid, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He's humble. He knows that.
Offsides. 97. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
He looks at the defensive unit talking about Zach Taylor now, and there's very little over there that surprises him.
Yeah.
He looks very confident.
This is the perfect system for him. I mean, he's not a guy that wants to go run the option. He's not going to outrun any defenders. He's not a great athlete, but he has a good mind. He's got a good delivery. He's strictly a pocket quarterback. This fits him and his talents real well.
Brandon Jackson, the deep back. Fake pitch out. Pass is caught by Dane Todd on the sideline, but very little gain.
Well, that's an example of a strong arm.
Yep.
Getting hit as he was throwing it across the field. Put that ball on the line.
Pass was incomplete. They must have said that Todd was out of bounds or didn't catch it cleanly. Well, you look again.
A little late pressure that time. Really, Zach Taylor's had pretty good time to throw the ball today.
Brandon Jackson again as the running back. And he gets the carry. Flag on the play. That could have been a face mask or a helmet ripped off by a face mask. Jackson, as Brian mentioned earlier, he's got a bad hand.
Tell you what he doesn't have that's bad. He's got a set of legs on that.
Oh, boy, does he?
I tell you, if you want to go bowling, just take one of his calves. Just take that and throw it down the lane. And that's what they look like.
First foul, face mask, number 42 on the defense, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
A set of bowling ball calves on him, you know, I mean, just rocked. Legs. I mean, you see tailbacks that carry the ball 15, 25 times, major college in the NFL. They are big, big people. They don't look like that. Has not a pair of noodles like that. No, they don't get the job done. That's the third penalty by Auburn on this drive that's really benefited Nebraska moving the ball.
Brandon Jackson again, the deep back. Now Todd sets up in front of him. Big hole, and Jackson will tie this game for Auburn if the extra point is good for Nebraska. Big hole in the middle of the line, and Brandon Jackson put those calves to work.
Yeah, he did. Good moves in the open field, and then again, once again, right at Auburn. Not trying to go wide on him, not trying to get around the corner, but right at him. Beautiful hole on the left side.
20 yards out. Jordan Congdon.
Well, they ran the old cross block behind Murtha. Now this is the open field, and Jackson, yeah, showing that quickness in the open field.
That's all, guys.
Tie game, 14-14. Auburn has been able to take advantage of turnovers. Nebraska has drowned it out. Brandon Jackson, who just scored from 20 yards out in the 71st Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Jake Welch set to kick it off with a little bit of a wind at his back. Patrick Lee and Davis back for Auburn. This one could be run back and will be by Lee. Excellent coverage by Nebraska as he doesn't quite make it back to the 15-yard line.
And all the fans here have been able to watch these replays on this brand new scoreboard here at the Cotton Bowl, the 71st Cotton Bowl Classic. Brand new, state of the art. Can't miss anything up there.
No. That is huge.
Yeah.
On television, you can't get an idea really of how big it is, but it is big.
Like most things in the state of Texas.
That's true. On 1st and 10. Cox changing things at the line. Back to throw it. Under pressure. Incomplete. Rodriguez, the intended receiver.
That Brandon Cox, you know, you mentioned at the very beginning, Pat, it's the first time he's really been healthy all year. Had his knee twisted up against LSU early in the season. Said he was gimpy most of the year. He's from Alabama. Most of his family are Crimson Tide fans. He's had to deal with that.
He has dealt with it well, though, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Again, he changes. Irons comes up to get the information, and he'll get the carry. Not much. Legs still churning. He picked up a couple of extra. Brandenburg made the tackle. 3 or 4 yards perhaps on the game.
At the strength of this Auburn team, one of the strengths, the 2 offensive guards. Watch Duckworth and Grubbs get out here and pull. That's like the old Green Bay sweep right there. Get those guards out there and just get them clearing out some. There we go. That's making use of the scoreboard. Thank you.
Thank you for your welcome. That's that big scoreboard we were talking about. Pressure on Cox again, and he had to get rid of it. Tommy Trott was the intended target, I believe, but he had no chance.
Quick pressure up the middle here has bothered Brandon Cox in his passing game. Good series by the Cornhuskers.
14-14 tie with 8:12 left before halftime. In the 71st Cotton Bowl. It's the first punt today. Cody Bliss, Grimsby back deep for Nebraska. He warmed up leaping on top of the huddle a minute ago. Off the side of his foot. It'll be down at the 35 where Nebraska will take over with 8 minutes left to work to break this tie. 71st Cotton Bowl. A happy new year from us. Second quarter at the Cotton Bowl. Auburn 14, Nebraska 14.
That's the offensive coordinator of Auburn, Al Borges, who describes himself as a fat guy with his hair on fire. And he was giving that offensive line a little bit of that speech just now.
This is Marlon Lucky back in at tailback and loses a couple. Let's go down to Krista again.
I want to bring you up to speed on kind of the mood down here on the field after Nebraska's scoring drive. Nebraska players obviously sitting on the bench, kind of arms wide open. Brandon Jackson, after a score, said, "The wait is over." Meanwhile, over here, the Auburn players, much more serious, obviously. Arms crossed, very serious in their talks, discussing what they're going to do here to go into the half, hopefully with a little bit more momentum. Momentum, I think, definitely going to be the key to this game.
Well, Krista, thank you. No question but that Nebraska so far has dominated. We have a tie score, but this is Lucky on the pass from Zach Taylor. But Nebraska has owned the momentum and this game so far. Auburn taking advantage of 2 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn has scored on a 9-yard drive and a 14-yard drive. Just an interception that got him down to the 9, and then just a careless fake punt by Nebraska gave him great field position. But you can see, look at the ball control right here in the yards. Time of possession, the whole thing, like you described, firmly in Nebraska's favor.
Lucky is again the tailback. And Taylor back to throw it and drops it out to Lucky. Auburn defenses display pretty well, led by Pat Sims.
Pat Sims, a big defensive tackle. Some beef in the middle. They probably rotate 7 or 8 defensive linemen up front. Sims, one of those guys. Good job of just trailing that play and getting Nebraska off the field on 3rd down.
The Auburn coaches were saying the other day, our guys play about 3 plays and then we give them a rest. So they use a lot of people, as you pointed out. Titchener back to punt it again, and Smith is deep for Auburn. No tricks this time. Coverage is good, and he made a wise choice with the fair catch because the Nebraska player was looking right at him. 14-14 tie. Back at the Cotton Bowl, Auburn has the ball, tied 14-14 with Nebraska. Auburn has not been able to move it so far. Kenny Irons gets the carry and doesn't get much.
But I thought one of the keys today was Auburn's offensive line is basically all seniors, and King Dunlap, the left tackle, is the only one not a senior. And then, you know, the senior defensive front of Nebraska, led by Adam Carricker and Jay Moore. Those guys right now have controlled this game. Auburn has not broken a long run. They haven't gotten a split in that defensive front. I would say Nebraska seniors up front right now controlling the game.
Playing a four-man front as they have throughout. Here's Brandon Cox again. And no place to throw and no place to go.
Steve Octavian is the one that came through first and really pressured Brandon Cox. He came clean and then kind of fed him to the rest of the Wolves up front.
And they make a change wholesale. Nebraska does on defense. The group they had in there I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, they are, but it's third down. You know, this specialized age of football, different packages for different plays.
Three-man front this time for Nebraska. And they rush from the outside, a big blitz, and down he goes. Cox had no place to go.
Andre Jones
made
off
that
the
play.
Corner. Yeah. The corner blitz that time. Andre Jones tied for this team lead in tackles coming in today. Andre Jones going to be coming off the corner. And they got a tradition at Nebraska, and college football is full of tradition, that the starters on defense and the guys that play the most are called the black shirts. And they wear the black shirts in practice. And Andre is one of those.
Indeed, he should be.
That's a big deal to get a black shirt at Nebraska.
Cox from Auburn's version. Punt out of the end zone, slices off the side of his foot. Handled by Nebraska, almost. Grimsby has it bounce off him. Next Monday, it's the game college football fans have been waiting for as Chris Leak and the Florida Gators take on Heisman Trophy winner Troy Smith and the Ohio State Buckeyes in the first ever Tostitos BCS National Championship game. Our coverage begins next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific in high definition, only on Fox. Nebraska takes over in good shape. Brandon Jackson is the deep back. Taylor going for a bunch. Incomplete. Good coverage. Purify the intended receiver.
I like the play though, and I like the call. Get the ball in good field position. You go to your big, tall receiver, Purify here. Goes up for the ball.
Patrick Lee with him.
Yeah.
Good coverage.
Very good coverage. Good play on the ball. Good shot, though, by Nebraska. Taking a shot down the field.
Why not?
Yeah. A quarterback that has an arm like that.
Jackson. Not much of a hole that time.
There's that Antonio Coleman. Auburn shuffles their players in just as well. Back and forth. Third down now. Different group coming on.
There's a group by himself coming off. From the spread. The heat's on, and Auburn gets their first sack of the day. Pat Sims again made the penetration and took down the quarterback.
Well, when you spread the field from sideline to sideline with basically 5 wide receivers, the linemen are one-on-one up front. Pat Sims just beat the left guard that time in the center. Came shortest route to the quarterback right up the middle. Timeout on the field here, stopping the clock with just under 2 minutes here in the first half.
14-14 tie. Coming up on the AT&T Cotton Bowl halftime, we'll have a preview of tonight's Tostitos Fiesta Bowl on Fox, along with coverage of the Nebraska and Auburn marching bands, plus a look back at the very first Cotton Bowl played 70 years ago today.
So, you know, tonight that the Fiesta Bowl is at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, and I had a chance to do an NFL game there this year, Pat. That is a state-of-the-art facility. I know that Jerry Jones is building a new stadium here for the Dallas Cowboys.
Also a state-of-the-art facility.
100,000 seats there, and Cotton Bowl will be maybe one day played in that new stadium.
Well, the city of Arlington, along with Jerry Jones, certainly made a contribution. That's where the baseball team plays as well.
Let's go.
Texas Rangers. It's off the side of the foot. And got a Nebraska bounce. Smith fielded it and stepped out of bounds immediately. So Auburn takes over, but deep in their own territory. 14-14 score. 1:38 left to play in the first half.
That as Auburn, you know, goes to huddle up here and gets ready. Something that's just amazing to me. These kids who are playing football and taking their winter break here and getting ready for this bowl game. Auburn has had 16 kids already graduate on this football team. Nebraska, 13 kids already graduating. And basically, the mentality now is you get a kid that comes in as a freshman, he never goes home. Goes home for a couple of days in the summer, a couple of days in the fall. Otherwise, they've got him year-round in school.
Irons and Stewart behind Cox. Auburn hasn't been able to do much on the ground. This is Kenny Irons. And this is his biggest run. Certainly after he changed directions. He did have one that was longer. But a good-looking play by Auburn.
Auburn doesn't look like they're in a hurry here to try to make any kind of a play down the field.
Less than a minute.
Yeah. Probably content to shut this down here at the end of the first half down. We're tied at 14-14.
Irons and Stewart behind Cox again. Irons gets some room and hurdles one tackler and gets an Auburn first down. Carricker finally made the tackle. Kenny Irons has picked up a little juice here.
Well, that was his best run of the day.
Yeah.
Just showed some
12-yard pickup.
I mean, just jumps right over his own man. Stewart, the fullback who has scored Auburn's 2 touchdowns today. Kenny Irons is from Camden, New Jersey. Him and his brother David Irons, they moved down to Georgia a few years ago. Get out of the city close to Philadelphia.
6 seconds left. This, I believe, is an official timeout. An official discussion, maybe.
Please reset the game clock to 26 seconds. The 25-second clock started, then stopped, and reset the game clock to 26 and a new 25-second.
I'm not sure I understand what's happening, but you heard what he said.
I think Auburn, all they want to do is run out the clock anyway. So they want to take a knee and get to the locker room and get reorganized.
That's probably what they will do. You never meet a pair of nicer guys than these two head coaches.
No.
They have been so cooperative, not just with us, but with the committee and with everybody. They've been very gracious, very grateful to be here. And they've handled it about as well as it can be handled.
Good week here for both programs.
Irons again, and they'll head for the locker room. That's the end of the first half with the score Auburn 14, Nebraska 14. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic continues with our halftime show after these messages from your local Fox station. 14 tie, but if you looked at things, Brian, you'd think Nebraska would be leading by a considerable margin.
No question about it, Pat. I mean, you look at this, Auburn had a combined 19 plays of offense in the first half, only threw 5 passes, nothing in the passing game. Nebraska really was just careless with the football on a couple of plays that really led to Auburn's touchdowns, a touchdown drive of 9 yards, one of 14. Otherwise, Nebraska controlled both sides of the ball here today.
But for the turnovers, this would not be a tie game. But let's go down right now to Krista Voda with Tommy Tuberville.
Yes, and Coach Tuberville, coming into this game, obviously your defense very highly regarded. They've lived up to the hype, but offensively, Nebraska's controlled this game. What adjustments did you tell your team to make, and how will you adjust here in the second half?
We've got to unadjust. We're trying to do too much. You know, when you have 2 months off, you know, we're trying to overcoach. I can't believe we're still in the ball game where we played on offense. Defensively, we're still not tackling as good as we need to, but we're a little embarrassed after this first half. We're going to play better the second half.
Is it just, you said too much time off, you're trying to get back into the game mentality?
We had too much time off to put too much stuff in. I've cut it all the way back. We're going to play football the second half.
Keep it simple second half, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, Krista, thank you. Tough first half for Brandon Cox. Nebraska returning back to the playing surface, which is, by the way, natural grass. Both the teams practice on artificial turf, which has become closer and closer like to be a natural surface.
Fullbacks Stewart, touchdown catch, touchdown run, and finally Brandon Jackson tied the score. 20-yard run himself for Nebraska to tie this score. 14-14 at the half.
Halftime statistics.
I like Tommy Tuberville's head, you know. We've got to cut back, simplify things. Nebraska's 2 turnovers led directly to Auburn's points. Auburn hasn't played well. I think that's a good admission by Tuberville.
You got 46 total yards. That won't win many.
No, you're not going to compete in any conference, the SEC, the Big 12, with playing like that.
You know, one of the things that both coaches pointed out to us when we talked to them and visited with them was this valuable time as they prepare for a bowl game, a major bowl game like this one, like the Cotton Bowl. That extra time that they get is a real break for them as they look at developing players. They compared it almost to like extra time in spring practice.
Well, it really is, Pat. I mean, they've had 2 weeks here to prepare. Watching Nebraska practice at Texas Stadium the other day, there wasn't a player that had a free second. If you were injured, you were running stadium steps. If you couldn't run, you were lifting weights. You know, everybody was performing, and so Auburn's too. This is the 3rd straight New Year's Day bowl game for Auburn. They use this extra time to get the younger guys ready for next season.
We have the advantage of having AT&T Skyview. A look at it. A look at the field. This one's coming from that Skyview camera. And you get some unusual looks, some very informative looks, really, from that AT&T Skyview camera.
Bill Callahan, when he looks at that chart, he always puts the reading glasses on. Coach Tuberville doesn't take his off. We'll see. Tuberville said his team will play better here in the second half, and they'll get a chance here with the ball to start.
He said we'll start tackling and we'll start blocking, I assume.
No, that was always the fundamentals.
Yeah,
coaches,
that sort of works itself in, doesn't it?
It's kind of important ingredients.
Jake Welch kickoff will be returned from the 5 by Davis, and room to run. Still on his feet. Excellent return for Auburn.
Davis returns the kick for the Tigers.
Corey Young made the tackle after Davis got close to midfield.
Well, I think we'll see some of that blocking you were just talking about, Pat, as they get a pretty good wedge here to get behind. There's a broken tackle, picking up blocks down the field. Tristan Davis, a talented player in all phases of the game.
Irons and Stewart, the 2 backs behind Cox. And Kenny Irons gets the carry on first down, breaks one tackle, another. Did most of that on his own as he crossed into Nebraska territory.
On the tackle for Nebraska.
Kenny Irons came in as one of those heralded running backs that Auburn is known for.
Right.
As a Heisman Trophy candidate, but he was injured early in the season, really banged up, bad ankles. He had the turf toe injury. He's healthy now, but he doesn't look like he runs with a lot of power. You don't see him pushing a pile.
Right. Not a big guy.
No.
205, 208. Cox outside near a first down yardage. You were talking about talented players. Bo Jackson, who played, of course, at Auburn, was one of the most talented ever. In fact, I talked to Al Davis, the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one time, and he said, I don't like this to center out, talk about anybody being the best I've ever seen, but this guy came close. Bo Jackson.
Vincent Bo Jackson. He was the best I saw.
He was?
Yeah.
Here's Irons. Almost breaking loose.
It's first down yardage for Kenny Irons.
That first down they just made before Irons' ball carry was the first third down conversion for Auburn today. And that won't get it done very often.
Well, there's a good look of some power there. Kenny Irons running harder, running through the traffic in the middle, breaking a few tackles for the first down.
At the Nebraska 40. Long count. Courtney Taylor dipped on the reverse. Got about 4 yards.
Boy, Nebraska is disciplined. Watch this play here. Watch them sitting on the outside here, just waiting for this reverse. Not just one guy, but two guys. Jay Moore waiting out there as well.
They may have seen it before.
I think, sometimes you call the play when they come out of the huddle. Looked like they called that reverse coming out of the huddle.
Second down. Irons, no place to go. He spins and breaks the tackle and gets a yard. And the ball is loose, and Nebraska's saying, we got it. Let's see what the officials say. Yes, sir. The Huskers have it.
So often backs will fumble when they try to gain extra yards. I don't know if he's down. This may be worth a review.
Bo Ruud, I think, is the guy who knocked it loose.
He stripped it out. That's McEwen that's stripping that ball out. I don't know if the knee is down, and it looks like this may get reviewed.
They review, the officials do, every play. Not the on-the-field officials,
Auburn
but
is challenging the call on the field. The play will be reviewed.
Well, you won't see that happen too often.
See, I think right here that his knee never gets down because Adam Carricker has got his arm under Irons' leg.
Yep.
I don't think the knee was ever down. The team is allowed one challenge. If it isn't overturned, then they get charged a timeout. But I think Carricker's arm was underneath Kenny Irons' leg, and I don't think it was ever on the ground. And McEwen stripped that ball right out. If I was Tommy Tuberville, I would challenge this play as well, just because it's in a costly part of the territory.
They don't challenge, college coaches don't challenge a lot. But when they do, they're pretty sure.
So Big Ten officials here.
Yep.
Todd Gearling's the referee today. The side judge, Michael Sheehan, today. 25th year refereeing college football. Going to retire after today's game.
Sheriff of Cook County, which is Chicago.
Yeah. That's
some power.
Yeah. That's a real sheriff. Field judge Norm Nelson, after 14 years, retiring today as well. Could be Auburn's first turnover of the day.
This is not a group, by the way, if you're interested, of officials that works together on a weekly basis. This is an all-star group.
The best from the Big Ten.
Right, right. 14-14 tie.
After review, the play stands as called. Turnover, first down, Nebraska. Auburn is charged a timeout and has used its challenge.
Which means, as Bryant said, that Auburn has no more challenges.
Yeah, that's where it was. Adam Carricker had his leg and wouldn't let it get to the ground.
Right.
In fact, Adam Carricker's arm is as big as Kenny Irons' leg.
Yeah, it looks like a leg.
It does look like a leg.
Marlon Lucky is the tailback for Nebraska.
It's the man who stripped it out. McEwen there. Corey McEwen, the linebacker. Bo Rude recovered that fumble.
Nebraska first down. Auburn had it after a good kick return, and they had started to move it most effectively. Their most effective offensive series of the day so far. But they turn it over, and it's Nebraska 1st and 10. Go! Nate Swift. Good pickup, 8 yards. Will bring up 2nd and 2. 14-14 tie in the third quarter in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. The 71st. Lucky and Dane Todd behind Zach Taylor.
That's off the shoestrings that time by Swift.
Here's Lucky. Nothing doing. Good play by the Auburn defense led by Quentin Groves.
A penalty flag on the play.
Flag on the play. Face mask against Auburn.
Face mask, 54. Defense, 5-yard penalty, results in a first down.
That's Quentin Groves.
The guy who made the tackle with some assistance.
First down 10 at Nebraska 49.
I didn't see the face mask.
I didn't see.
There it is. Yeah.
Just from the ground, just reaching up and trying to pull him down.
Intended for Lucky. Incomplete.
Well, Aaron Savage was coming, the safety for Auburn. He read that play immediately, was coming to blow it up.
I think that may have had something to do with the incompletion.
I think he kind of shortened their arms a little bit. Zach Taylor said that his practices are way harder than ending the games. And just the number of plays that they run at Nebraska every day, just drilling this West Coast offense into these players.
Talk about the West Coast offense. This is not, although both teams say they run the West Coast offense, it's Lucky again, and the Auburn defense reacts very well to it. Will Herring that time, but it doesn't look like what I thought of as being the West Coast offense.
Right.
It was developed by Bill Walsh on the West Coast when he was the head man of the 49ers.
You know, the whole key to keeping this going is to find a quarterback like Zach Taylor, who is the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. They've got some candidates in school right now at Lincoln, but big shoes are going to be needed to fill.
Out of the spread, flag on the play. One of the linemen pulled back too quickly, like the left offensive tackle. Might have anticipated the count.
Prior to the snap, false start, 54 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Chris Patrick moved a little too soon.
I was watching the offensive linemen in Nebraska practice, and they're working on cut blocks. I mean, they did 15 straight minutes of just diving at guys' legs and throwing their body across to get the defenders down on the ground.
Four-man front for Auburn. Taylor drops to throw it. Got some room, and he's going to take off with it. Close to a first down. Oh, I beg your pardon. Close to the first down marker, but not the first down.
That was not a great decision here by Zach. He sees this opening here.
Yep.
There's too much speed in Auburn. Auburn, you know, I think they play in the conference with the most speed in the country. Florida, LSU, Georgia, South Carolina. They get a quarterback out in the perimeter. They're used to chasing those guys down.
Kitchener back to punt again. Better kick this time. In fact, this is a dandy. Bounds into the end zone, and Trey Smith wisely stayed away from it. And Auburn will start from the 20. 57-yard punt. They bring it back to the 20, and that's where Auburn will begin. This Thursday night on Fox, don't miss Till Death, the new hit comedy starring Emmy winner Brad Garrett. Catch an all-new episode this Thursday at 8/7 Central right here on Fox. Till Death. Incomplete, a flag on the play. Courtney Taylor sprinting down the sideline, covered by Andrew Shanley. And he might have gotten an arm on him before the ball got there.
Defensive pass interference.
Yep. I didn't see him push him, but I did see his arm come out.
Pass interference, number 2 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot with an automatic first down.
Called against Grigsby.
There's Grigsby. There's the mismatch. Courtney Taylor at 6'4". Oh, that's a phantom call, really. I mean, Grigsby's running under his armpit of Courtney Taylor.
That's illegal.
Yeah, it is. If it isn't, it should be. No place to hide there.
15-yard penalty, first down Auburn. Stewart and Irons. Irons is the setback deep behind Brandon Cox. Irons gets the carry. There's nothing there. Both teams run that fake reverse. It didn't fool anybody.
Well, they tried to hold the backside end there, but I'm looking down there at the linebacker for Nebraska, Bo Rude, who is a senior. Grew up right in Lincoln, Nebraska. Brother played there. 2 uncles played there. Father, great-grandfather played there. This is the last in the line of the Rude family coming through Lincoln, Nebraska. Great tradition, great football family.
Cox. Pass is caught across the 50 by Rodriguez. The 6'4" junior made the reception. Good throw from Brandon Cox.
Yeah, and he got good protection this time.
19-yard pickup.
Brandon Cox had a chance to step up that time. Last catch by Preche Rodriguez won the Alabama game in the last game that Auburn played on November 18th. So it's been over 6 weeks.
That is a good throw.
Great catch and throw.
And Auburn's longest play of the day, 19-yard pickup. Nebraska showing blitz, and they blitz it.
Good!
Wow. Courtney Taylor jumped over the top of the defender and came down with a football. That's a heck of a catch.
Well, we're seeing a lot of guys jump here today, and this one was the most effective. There's Grigsby in the armpit again of Courtney Taylor, and he just jumped right over him.
Maybe that's what he was looking for when he jumped on top of the huddle earlier today.
Yeah. I mean, he was the one that was jumping over the huddle. Now guys are jumping over him.
21-yard pickup. That'll be now the longest play of the day for Auburn by 2 yards. Cox back to Irons, and he's got some blockers in front. And a good hit But good yardage for Kenny Irons nevertheless.
Yeah, great hit by T.R. Green, but you can see those 2 passes that Auburn has just completed have kind of softened and loosened up this Nebraska front, allowing Irons to get to that corner.
Well, Tommy Tuberville said to Krista earlier, we're going to play better in this half, and indeed they are.
They really are. Watch this hit by T.R. Green, the safety. Good tackle.
Kenny Irons deep again. On second down.
Good.
Headed for all of it. Lee Guess was the wide receiver. I didn't see a definitive call, did you?
No, and I didn't see the ball come out. Looked like it was one of those ties. Looked like both guys had the ball.
Yep. Today's attendance, excuse me, Brian, 66,777. 28 of the last 30 games. Well, there's the whole play again. I'm sorry to be talking.
Looks like he came down inside there.
Yeah. Here's Irons. Down to just shy of the 15-yard line. Let's go back and look at that play in the end zone before.
Take a look at Lee Guess and Grigsby, who's been in a lot of plays today. Only 1 foot needs to be in, of course. Yeah, I guess right there. I mean, that's like that right foot.
In, yeah.
Right foot looked like it was on the white stripe.
But who's got the ball? Well, now
Guess has the ball at the end.
Yeah. Cox looking. Almost intercepted. Waited a little late. Barry Turner knocked it away.
All of Brandon Cox's throws have been to the outside, to the sideline. Just looking at Nebraska's defense, there's holes in the middle of it down the field. They haven't thrown anything down the field, in the middle of the field. Really working the edges on this drive.
Really, you're right. The tight ends have not been involved greatly at all.
There's an area in the field there when they snap the ball that looks to be open.
Perhaps they listened to you.
Oh, you see this? They just moved to safety up here.
They heard you. They just changed. Now he's calling a timeout.
Yeah.
Still 14-14 with 6:42 left in the third. But Auburn on the move. Back at the Cotton Bowl. Here's that play that they were arguing about just a minute ago. We showed you once. Here it is again. Watch who winds up with the ball when they roll over.
Yeah. Lee Guess winds up with the ball.
Tommy Tuberville.
You see, the right foot is in.
Thought this was a touchdown. And I'm inclined to agree with him.
Now, Tommy Tuberville there, who doesn't have a timeout challenge left.
Right.
Thought that should have been a touchdown. It should have at least been reviewed when he was speaking with the referee in this past timeout. Trying to figure out why that play wasn't reviewed.
Well, we were talking with the officials before the game. They said we review every play. Nevertheless, it's 2nd and 10. Ben Tate is the Auburn running back, and Tate gets the carry. Flag on the play. Tate made it around the corner. There was a flag dropped on the block that helped to spring him.
Number 30, Terry Green, defending on the flag.
It was the big right tackle, Jonathan Palmer, out there on the edge that pulled somebody down.
Holding. 79. Offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat. 2nd down.
By the way, a catch that they'll move Auburn back. That catch that Courtney Taylor made was a career record-tying 150th reception. Ties him with Karsten Bailey. That was earlier. That set up the disputed catch for the touchdown.
That last hold was on Britsby, who seems to be in a highlight package every time we show one. from the time he jumped on the huddle today.
Taylor fakes left, throws screen right, incomplete. Ben Tate, the intended receiver.
Incomplete pass intended for Ben Tate.
Here's what we've been talking about.
Never have I ever seen anything like Courtney Grisby jumping up on the shoulders of his teammates there during the team huddle. And look at all those bodies. I mean, there's got to be 100 red shirts and helmets.
And how high he got up.
Just jumped right over him.
Break the Lambeau lead.
Now, they've been going at him. They've been coming at him on the perimeter running game. They've been throwing at him. Here he is at the top on this play.
3rd and 20.
Go!
Nope, out of bounds, incomplete. Rodriguez intended. Like Auburn's going to settle or try to settle for a field goal.
The drive that looked so promising really stalled with that holding call by Palmer.
John Vaughn, 19 out of 23 in his field goal attempts. This will be from 42 yards out. That would be about his range.
Go!
Plenty of leg. And good as Auburn takes the lead. Auburn 17, Nebraska 14. 6 minutes, 20 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. The Auburn Tigers lead by 3. Auburn is a finalist for the Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year. The Tigers have already won a $5,000 scholarship from Pontiac for this play against Florida. Vote now at Pontiac.com/NCAA to help decide the winner of the $100,000 Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year, which will be announced at the Tostitos BCS National Championship game on Fox, January the 8th. Auburn 17, Nebraska 14. Auburn about to kick off. Matt Clark.
He's their kickoff specialist.
Green and Lucky back deep for Nebraska. From the 8, Lucky to about the 28. 17-14 Auburn. Lucky is the tailback. Lucky gets the carry. And gets about 3 or 4. Pat Sims on the stop.
Number 95, Pat Sims.
Nebraska took the opening kickoff and put together a drive of beauty. But since then, the Auburn defense has figured out things and kept them pretty well in check.
They've adjusted.
Taylor, remarkable throw as he hits Nate Swift on the run. That's a heck of a throw.
It's a great throw, Pat. And I didn't know that Zach Taylor had that type of escapability. I mean, he wants to throw it early. There, he doesn't like that. Now he's being chased. And not only, I mean, that's the best player chasing him there for Auburn, and be able to get the ball away with Quentin Groves nipping at your feet.
24-yard pickup. And obviously a Nebraska first down as they move across to the Auburn side of the field. Here's Lucky. Auburn filled the hole quickly.
Got to have that from your quarterback these days. You got to have a guy that can, from time to time, not every play, but be able to rescue a play and extend the drive like that.
At least step away from pressure.
Sure. Think about it, the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. There are a lot of good players out of that conference.
Right.
I thought he was the best, the most talented.
Second down. Lucky again. And past the first down marker, they'll move the chain.
Marlon Lucky has good patience when he runs, Pat. I mean, whoever his lead blockers are, whether it's his fullback or fullback this time and his guard getting out in front of him, watch him just in that hip pocket there, just following him, just being patient, and then when he gets rid of him, then take what he gives you.
21 carries, 76 yards for Lucky. That one got 8. And Nebraska first down. This looks like the first drive of the day. Lucky again. Auburn safety man comes up and makes the hit quickly. Will Herring again. Not a safety man. He used to be a safety man. They moved him to linebacker.
Well, he was a safety his first 3 years. Moved him to the weak side linebacker position this year. I think I mentioned this before. That's his 49th game today for Auburn.
Yeah. That's a career.
Yeah, it is a career.
On sort of a quick count. Batted backwards. Pat Sims got the big paws up and knocked the ball backwards.
Every time they've tried to surprise Auburn with something quick, it's backfired.
They do that quite often.
Yeah.
Line up quickly and fire away, or try to get Auburn before the defensive staff is ready.
It's the coordinator of Auburn, Will Muschamp, probably be running his college program in the very near future.
He talks and acts like he's head coach material, doesn't he?
He's a coach.
Incomplete from Taylor. Terrence Nunn. Tonight, the Fiesta Bowl. Tomorrow, the Orange Bowl. Wednesday, the Sugar Bowl. Next Monday, the BCS National Championship game. And you don't need to go anywhere else. That's all on Fox.
Oh, man. Tonight, Oklahoma and Boise State. Tomorrow, I'll be in South Florida to watch the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and what a great year Jim Grobe has had against the Louisville Cardinals.
You doing the game, or
I'm just going as a fan.
Oh,
going as a fan. Yeah. Jeff Brom, the quarterback of Louisville, so I think might be the best quarterback in the country.
They lined up in field goal formation, and then they quick kick, and the ball dies at about the 1 foot line. Did that ever work?
Never. I've never seen it work like that.
The ball just stopped. Nobody downed it.
It just had that like backspin on it. It's like a Tiger Woods drop right here.
Except Tiger would have gotten it closer.
Okay.
There's Jordan Congdon without the helmet, smiling in the background. The guy who executed that remarkable kick we just witnessed. Auburn, Kenny Irons is almost out of the back of the end zone. They're going to throw. Incomplete. Courtney Taylor. Here's what they lined up in.
Oh, this is a great fake. It's a great fake. You don't see it very often, but it's a great play. You're in no man's land, probably too far for a field goal. Don't want to line up in a punt. And then you just put the Tiger Woods backspin on it and let it just die.
Jordan Congdon, who executed the kick, is from San Diego. That looks like something he might have learned on the beach.
A little, like it was kicked in sand.
Yeah.
He's still smiling.
Yeah.
He feels good.
A little bit of operating room to Courtney Taylor from Brandon Cox. That gives him the Auburn all-time receiving record. He had 150, that's 151.
I think Congdon just got a record for number of high fives.
I think so too.
Look at everybody. He doesn't have enough hands to take them on.
That's when you want to make sure you don't have your helmet on.
Right.
Everybody can see what you look like.
Get a little national exposure there for a great quick kick.
Gonna throw it again.
Oof.
Again complete to Taylor, and that'll get to Auburn some more operating room.
Well, that Brandon Cox got flattened that time.
Did he ever?
Yeah. He hung in there. He hung in there and got rid of this ball. You're going to see him. He's getting sandwiched as he throws this football. Play action fake didn't fool anybody. Tierre Green there and Stuart Bradley sandwiching him pretty well.
But Auburn gets the first down and gets some operating room. They were back on the 1-foot line. Irons and Stewart behind Cox.
I think the punter stopped smiling now. Auburn got it out of that area.
Put his helmet back on.
He's back to being a punter.
Here's Kenny Irons, tripped in the backfield and doesn't get much.
You know that Kenny Irons told us that he gets stronger as the game goes on. He runs on adrenaline. And when we sit down and talk to him, it seems like he doesn't run on adrenaline. He is adrenaline. Him and his brother both.
They never stop talking.
No, they're a year apart. His brother David Irons, the cornerback, a year older. Kenny Irons had transferred from South Carolina where wasn't given much of a chance. Taking advantage of his opportunity here, but we'll see how he does here as the game wears on.
Should have been caught. Incomplete. Fullback Carl Stewart, who scored the 2 Auburn touchdowns, couldn't quite find the handle. Our first let down line, by the way, is brought to you by AT&T, as is the Cotton Bowl itself, brought to you by AT&T.
I see the connection between the yellow line and phone lines.
Yeah. Third down. Courtney Taylor, another reception, and another Auburn first down.
And a heady spin by Courtney Taylor, knowing where the defender was and turning away from him to be able to pick up the first down. Watch him turn outside, away from the defender.
And then stiff arm him.
Yeah.
And get the yardage necessary to pick up a first for Auburn. Draw play to Irons. Beg your pardon, that's Ben Tate. Irons was replaced before that play. Tate, remember that name because that's a back of the future. Just a freshman. Second and 6. Ben Tate still the lead man behind Cox. Wide open, the Auburn receiver. Gabe McKenzie, the tight end. Worked to the tight end, but not in the middle. As Brian was talking about earlier, 12-yard gain, excuse me.
You know that Tommy Tuberville came out of the locker room talking to our Chris Devoda down the field saying we're going to play better in the second half, and they have owned this third quarter.
No question about it. We're going to play football, they said.
Yeah, and they look, they have. They've thrown the ball much better.
Tate. That's the end of the third quarter with the score Auburn 17, Nebraska 14.
The Cotton Bowl is all about tradition. Fox has been a part of that tradition for a while. AT&T has been a part of it even longer, over a decade. Jose Gutierrez, congratulations on that relationship, on what has been a great week, and on the new AT&T.
Thank you, Krista, and thanks to Fox for capturing this great American tradition, the AT&T Cotton Bowl. These are exciting days at AT&T. We're already known as a great communications company, but we're also a fine provider of advanced television services. So I invite all those folks that just bought those brand new fancy TVs to call AT&T. We will get them set up with the greatest high-definition program. So thank you, Krista.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Back to you. Back to you, Pat.
All right, Krista and Jose. I need to be calling on those people.
Yeah. You've got one of those big, brand new, big screen TVs in that living room of yours.
Yes, I do. I'll be on the phone. Ben Tate, the ball carrier. Tate rumbles past the 30.
You said that's the future, Pat.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
he looks pretty good.
Yeah, he does. It's first time today they got the split into the secondary.
21-yard pickup.
You think about the backs that have come through Auburn just a couple of years ago. Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams.
Yeah.
The 2nd and 5th pick in the NFL draft.
Bo Jackson.
Stephen Davis.
I played with a great one. Joe Childress.
There you go.
A few years back. This is Kenny Irons. He is wrapped up in the backfield. They were either out very late or didn't stop at the intelligence machine.
Or they're just
Nebraska fans.
They just haven't been to a New Year's Bowl in Nebraska in a while.
Haven't been here in a long time. Kenny Irons, the deep back. Stewart in front of him. Fake to Irons. Outside to Irons. I heard that hit all the way up here.
That's a long way up here. I heard it too.
Andre Jones, the author of that contact. That's a good tackle.
This kid, rarely do you see a cornerback lead a team in tackles, but him and Stuart Bradley were tied at the top this year for the Cornhuskers.
That's where we are, on the top deck up there.
Way up. We hear the hits before we see it.
Yeah. The pressure.
That's Jay Moore.
Right. Both those defensive ends anticipate playing at the next level. And after talking with them and looking at them the other day, I have to agree. Well, that both of them at least will get the chance.
Both of them bleed Nebraska red too.
Cody Bliss back to punt it. Swift lets it bounce and it dives. Another effective punt. 12:44 left to play in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl, the 71st. Auburn leads by 3, 17-14. A look from the AT&T Skyview camera. You see from time to time, furnishing those unique pictures of this contest between Auburn and Nebraska. Outside to Lucky. And Lucky gets near a first down.
You need a Skyview camera here.
Yeah, you do.
Track the ball. Zach Taylor, I think, having a pretty good day, just trying to finish a drive here. He's got about 100 plays on his wrist. He doesn't practice with that wristband on. He tries to go through practice without it, trying to memorize the volume of plays that they have in. They has it on during the game where they just call out a number and he reads the play according to the number.
Memorizing those 100 is a tough task by itself. Brandon Jackson has replaced Lucky as the running back.
I asked Bill Callahan how he teaches this offense that is so noted in the NFL about how difficult it is to learn. You always hear it takes 3 years for a quarterback to master it. He said we just We repetition. We just cram as much as we can in every day.
Flag on the play after Jackson is finally stopped. He had first down yardage, but a penalty marker down. Aaron Savage made the stop. It's against Nebraska. One of the things that Tommy Tuberville said when they came out in the second half was that he had too much time and he gave them too much material. So we've simplified things, both on offense and defense, I assume he meant. And Auburn has been indeed much more effective in the second half.
Holding, 62, offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Excuse me, I was at a dinner with the Auburn coach a couple of years ago when he had that undefeated team, and I asked him how many first-round draft choices he thought he had on that team, and he said 5.
Yeah.
And indeed there were 5, including Cadillac, Ronnie Brown,
Jason Campbell,
yeah,
Carlos Rogers, yeah.
Good play by the Auburn. Great anticipation. Brandon Jackson was taken down before he had a chance to maneuver at all.
What's that David Irons?
David Irons.
Yeah, I mean, that David Irons came in with his brother to talk to us the other day, and it looked like a vaudeville act. I mean, one guy starts a sentence, the other guy finishes it. I mean, they're just back and forth, high motors, high energy. Get the feeling that those kind of guys, at the end of the holidays, you just want them to get out of the house, go back to school.
Third down coming from the spread. Incomplete. Through the hands of the intended receiver, Terrence Nunn. David Irons, somebody asked him how he would feel after this game was over, playing his last game with his brother. He said, I'll probably cry.
Yeah.
And I bet he would. Titchener back to punt. And Trey Smith back deep for Auburn. Titchener back in the end zone. Smith on the Nebraska side of the 50. Good kick. Some room. One good block.
Needs one more block.
Got one more. Got back just shy of the 50. After all that dancing, they ran out of music.
Stuart Bradley, number 34 on the tackle.
17-14, Auburn. Our first down line is brought to you by AT&T. They've moved it a few times today, haven't they? Auburn in the second half, Nebraska in the first half.
Looks like a tale of two halves.
Yeah.
It's first and 10 for the Tigers at their 48-yard line.
First and 10 for Auburn at the 48. Bright, sunshiny day in Dallas. Just right for football. Whatever wind there is, Auburn has at their back now. Nothing doing. Right now, let's send you down again to Chris Devoda.
Well, David and Kenny Irons playing in their final game in an Auburn uniform. Dad, David Sr. in the stands watching. I know it's been a long road here, a lot of injuries, a lot of schools. What are your thoughts watching them today?
Well, I feel that we're blessed as a family just to be able to enjoy them in this last game. You know, they've been through a lot of trials and tribulations to get here, and it's just a blessing for all of my family. We have this whole row here, this whole section, be able to come down and enjoy their last game.
Now, with David on defense, Kenny on offense, how do you ever go to the bathroom in one of these games?
We just do it before we get into the stadium, and we hold out. We man up and hold out until the game is over. We don't move. Not even halftime we don't go.
Dedicated and loyal. A lot of Irons making it to the NFL. We hope to see David and Kenny there as well.
We all have our fingers crossed. This is my uncle Leroy Jackson. He played in the 60s with the Washington Redskins. He was the first member of our family to play in the NFL.
We are glad to have all of you here. Thank you for being here and enjoy the game. And guys, something else to keep in mind, Auburn led at the end of the third quarter 17-14. Auburn has never relinquished a lead, 10-0 when they lead after the third this season.
Strong family, Krista. Strong family ties. They never go to the bathroom. That's pretty good. Courtney Taylor, the intended receiver, he looked like he was open momentarily. But that cover two, the safety man rolled over.
Well, that's a great job by Courtney Taylor, that if he wasn't going to get the ball, make sure that Shanley didn't. Shanley's older brother, Scott Shanley, going to the playoffs with the New Orleans Saints. Earned a first-round bye with their play this year.
Cody Bliss back to punt for Auburn.
Want to fake it. There's nobody there.
Line drive, good spiral punt. Over the head of Grigsby into the end zone. 55-yard kick. Tailwind, but a good kick nevertheless. And now we highlight Colt Brennan, who is a candidate for the singular All-America Player of the Year. The Hawaii quarterback threw for 4,990 yards and 53 touchdowns, leading his team to a win over Arizona State in the Hawaii Bowl. To vote for Colt Brennan or any of the other singular All-American candidates, text 87654 on your singular wireless phone or go to foxsports.com. Keyword singular for more information. Lucky back at tailback. Back is going to throw it if he has time. He got a pretty good sandwich after that scramble by Josh Thompson.
Josh Thompson is the nose tackle for Auburn. And he looks like your classic nose tackle, Pat. I mean, he's 6 foot tall, over 300 pounds, built like a square refrigerator. About as square as you can get. And he just made that play coming all over the field and chasing him down.
That's square?
maybe a little rounded.
Maybe.
That's square.
He's effective, that's for sure. All kinds of time. Now Zach Taylor gets away. Out of bounds, he is taken by Marcus Gunn. Chased by Taylor.
This time, Josh Taylor, he just gets wrestled. I mean, that's just a tag team there. That's the life of a nose tackle. He gets up, he doesn't stop. No. You don't want to get a loaf in your last college game. It's over there. And he gets a couple high fives out on the sideline.
Marlon Lucky, the lone back with Zach Taylor. Out of the spread he operates. Blitz coming, look out. Incomplete, good coverage and a good play by Purify, who's the intended receiver, knocked away by David Irons.
Well, Irons is celebrating this play because Zach Taylor thought he had a beat on Purify. David Irons left his feet and got that hand in there. David Irons just happy to be playing. He's overcome 2 ACL injuries. Was on crutches 2 years ago when Auburn won the Sugar Bowl against Virginia Tech.
So Titchener is back again. 6 times Nebraska's had the ball and 6 times they've punted in a row. Fielded on the Nebraska side of the 50 this time by Smith. And that's where Auburn will take over and start this offensive possession. They lead by 3. Back at the 71st Cotton Bowl. What a day it's been. What a good game we've had. 17-14. Auburn leading. It's Auburn ball. Just at midfield. Happy New Year from all of us at Fox. Happy New Year to all of you who attended this year's Cotton Bowl. It's been a great game. Flag on the play.
Ball start. 79. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Jonathan Palmer, the guilty party.
Matt, were you ever a big believer in New Year's resolutions? You ever?
Yeah, I made a lot of them.
Yeah.
I never lived by a lot of them. Yeah, I was a believer. Still am.
Hard to keep some of them sometimes.
Well, you got to figure out what your standards are before you make them.
You have to adjust them a little bit.
Ben Tate. Still running. Stepped out of bounds or was down, knee down.
Number 44, Ben Tate on the
Let's see how many tackles Ben Tate can break on his way to the sideline. It's hard to break the grip of Adam Carricker, and that's what he did.
I was talking to the Auburn coaches the other day. They were talking about how young Ben Tate was. When he first got there, he just barely 16 years old. Just had turned 16. He is, as Brian and I have said earlier, the back of the future for Auburn. Kenny Irons is back in now at the tailback spot, and he gets this carry.
Pitch back to Kenny Irons.
This is the way the Alamo Bowl ended for Nebraska last year. Some people may have missed this in some of the highlights at the end of the year. One of those plays that looks like it never ended. You expect the band to come out anytime soon.
This is one of those you see a number of times.
Yeah.
Somebody keeps playing it back. In this case, it's a Michigan player.
And it's not over there yet either.
No.
No, but, you know, in this game, history and folklore can be made at any time.
Brandon Cox changes formations around. Nebraska faked the blitz. Didn't have to. Barry Cryer came around the corner. Nebraska's saying, we got the ball. And they do. What a break that is. 5 minutes, 24 seconds left. Nebraska takes advantage of the Auburn turnover. Stuart Bradley made the recovery.
And they created it. They created that turnover. Great instant pressure on Brandon Cox.
Second turnover for Auburn. They took advantage of Nebraska turnover to score their touchdowns. And now it's Nebraska's turn. Marlon Lucky back in at tailback.
They needed that. They needed that turnover. They have not been able to move the football in the second half.
Lucky. About a yard.
We had asked Adam Carricker and Jay Moore if they felt like Nebraska football was back. And they said no, because we haven't won a championship. We hadn't run a big bowl game. They would take a win in the Cotton Bowl against Auburn to feel like this program is back where it needs to be.
Depends on what they do with this drive.
Yeah.
With this possession. Lucky behind Taylor. And now Todd. This is Lucky. And he gets down to where they have about a 3rd and 5 coming up as Josh Thompson made the stop.
Might be that 4-down territory right here, Pat. I mean, right now.
Oh, I think so.
Not too far for a field goal. Might not want to punt it away, so you're calling a play right now from Bill Callahan. Kind of think that you've got 2 downs here to get 5 yards.
Behind a bunch of blockers is Lucky. And he gets the first down. That was a big one. They moved the 3 blockers from one side to the other out in front of him.
Well, they got a convoy out front, and that led them around the court. There's the bunch formation you're talking about. Just getting as many bodies as you can, pulling the linemen.
To go out with the people that were already set out there. They pulled 2 more people.
Move the whole formation out on the perimeter.
Lucky 25 carries for 88 yards on the day. Taylor has taken a timeout. We'll be back to the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic. Our Total Access game summary presented by Blockbuster.
See, Auburn really hasn't done much with the football offensively. A little bit here in the third quarter. A couple of costly turnovers from the running backs. Allowed Nebraska to have a chance to get back into this game.
Brandon Jackson back in his spot as the tailback. Todd moves in front of him. Couple of yards. Maybe fell for another one. Merrill Johnson led the defensive charge. 17-14. 3:20 now left to play as the clock continues to run. Bill Callahan looks on.
I think Bill has a lot of confidence in his quarterback, though. In this part of the game, this situation here to put the ball in his hands.
Jackson. Good job defensively by Auburn. Josh Thompson again.
The defense is flying to the football. Tommy Rose got his team to 7 straight bowl games, 3 straight New Year's Day bowl games. That defense playing like they want to win this one.
Third down. It's like about 8.
Time running out here.
Shuttle pass. It worked earlier. It doesn't work this time, and that might have just taken him out of field goal range. That loss was big for Auburn. Marks, the defensive tackle, made that play. They're going to talk it over. Their kicker's longest this year has been 40 yards. This will be considerably more than that. Murtha is the injured Cornhusker. .203 left on the game clock. Auburn 17, Nebraska 14. And they're in big conference. Nebraska is over in front of their bench about what to do.
Yeah, the field goal will be from about 47, 48 yards should they decide to go that direction.
His longest is 40.
Only 7 attempts all year long.
5 out of 7 he is.
They've been extremely productive when they've gotten the ball down, scoring touchdowns, just haven't had the opportunity to kick them.
Think they'll try it? A field goal, I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think right now, 4th and 11.
It's a little bit against the wind. They're going in a hurry, whatever they're going to do.
Looks like
not a field goal. Out of bounds and incomplete. Intended for Franz Hardy. I don't quite understand that.
Well, every time they rush to play today, it's backfired. And some of it is Nebraska in the execution, but a lot of it is Auburn being prepared for any kind of a quick play, a quick snap. But that was really a 1 receiver route and pressure in Zach Taylor's face.
Auburn has 1 timeout left. Nebraska has 2. They'll use them quickly. 1:36 left.
Nebraska's got to be a little bit confused by what they did on that play. I think it was the play before that you mentioned, Pat, that they lost the yardage.
Yeah.
That they really backed themselves out of the field goal range.
Yeah. Stewart and Irons, the two setbacks behind Cox. Irons will get the carry. And Kenny Irons looked as if he might break it,
And off to Kenny
but
Irons.
somebody hung on. Andrew Shanley.
Making the stop for Nebraska, Andrew Shanley.
President Gerald Ford, who passed away on Tuesday, was an outstanding athlete, a center and a linebacker for the University of Michigan from 1932 to 1934. The Wolverines were undefeated in his first 2 seasons there. He was born in Omaha, Nebraska on July the 14th, 1913. Great man.
Pat, I know he's a good friend of yours. I know you're leaving here today in Dallas and going to the funeral.
He once told me, Brian, that he was riding back. He had played in the East-West game and apparently had played pretty well. And on the same train with him coming back from the West Coast was Curly Lambeau, who was already the coach of the Packers, the famed stadium named after him. And Curly tried to talk the president into playing pro football. Offered him a princely sum of $250 a game if he would do that. And the president told him he appreciated the offer, but he said, I think I want to go to law school and maybe get into public work of some kind.
$250 a game just wasn't enough, huh?
In those days, that was a lot of money. Here's Kenny Irons. Came out of the pack, almost broke away. Grigsby made the stop. But the president, we often talked about football. He was a diehard Michigan fan, NFL fan. Anybody who played at Michigan, he kept track of in the NFL. He knew all about Tom Brady. He was just a fan.
And the flags have been flying at half-mast. I know he was a guest in your home.
Yeah.
This past year.
No, not this past year. A couple of years ago. But he and Mrs. Ford were dear, dear friends. Our dear friends.
Well, Pat.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I mean, look at Bill Callahan here. He's burned his last time out.
Yep.
1 minute to go. Auburn's got a 3rd and 2. You got to figure that behind that offensive line of Auburn that they'll hand it off one more time. If they get the first down, they basically can take a knee. If they don't, Nebraska will get an opportunity with the ball one more time.
That's the AT&T Cotton Bowl trophy awaiting the victor. Right now it looks as if it will be Auburn. It was 14-14 at the half. Auburn leads by 3. 3rd and 2. Nebraska showing blitz. Kenny Irons. Close to first down yardage. I don't know if he got it or not. Depends on the mark. Jay Moore made the stop. If he did, Auburn can grab that trophy, and he did.
Yep.
Nebraska out of timeouts. Bill Callahan, no matter if Nebraska does lose, has taken advantage, made a lot of friends in Dallas, and has also gotten a long look at some of the players on the way up.
And that's what you could say about the program. It's on its way up.
Yep.
All of his backs and receivers will be back next year.
Don't forget tonight on Fox, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Boise State against Oklahoma. It's difficult to say, but I'm interested to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma, you saw Oklahoma here this year in the classic Red River Valley contest here at the Cotton Bowl, Texas OU. Adrian Peterson getting back onto the field. Talented tailback. Been a good week for Bill Callahan and the Cornhuskers.
And as we pointed out, or you pointed out earlier, he took advantage at the luncheon the other day to say how good and how attentive the Texas high school coaches had been. He took advantage of a little recruiting opportunity. That's part of being a head coach.
That's the lifeblood.
Yep.
Got to keep him coming. He thought that when he came to Nebraska, the couple of things he was looking at, they may be reviewing the spot.
They are. That's what they're doing.
Thought one of the things that a couple of things he thought about coming was the facilities. They just opened up a brand new Tom Osborne football facility on the campus.
After review, we have indisputable video evidence that the runner was down short of the 40-yard line by 1 foot. 4th down, Auburn.
Down by 1 foot. There's the guy who was missed by 1 foot, Kenny Irons.
Well, I don't know
how. Well, there are two lines there.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't see the yellow line. The players
elbows
can't.
Down there before he stretched that ball out across the 40-yard line.
The yellow line, of course, is unofficial. The players can't see that, nor can the people in the stands.
49 seconds. 49 seconds.
Put 2 more seconds back on the game clock is what the officials are saying. They've done a good job today, the official group from the Big 10 to the Big 12.
Callahan put his glasses back on.
They're from the Big 10, not the Big 12. That's the way the operation does in the bowl games. They don't come from the same conference that either of the two schools come from.
Neutral officials.
They've been drinking something neutral to be here with no shirts on.
Antifreeze.
Yeah.
Antifreeze protected themselves.
Yep. Or that corn cob.
Auburn.
Timeout, Auburn.
Timeout.
Let's talk it over. Of course, if you decide to punt, there's always the danger of a punt being blocked.
Sure.
Or a bad snap. You never know. With 24 seconds remaining on the game clock. And they're going to go in punt formation.
Nebraska won't even put a returner back. They're going to put all 11 players up there, including Zach Taylor, the quarterback, is in here in the middle.
So he'll be in the game.
Yeah.
In case something does happen. Nobody back.
Good.
There it goes. Nobody in red even close by. Now here they come.
They took as much time off as they could.
Yep.
Smart by Auburn, almost like Tommy Tuberville has reviewed every situation.
10 seconds left to play.
As soon as they
Nebraska's ready to go,
yeah.
That's why Taylor stayed in there and was part of the punt block team. Although he didn't do much aggressively. He spikes it. And we'll have 9 seconds left.
Well, you could legitimately run 2 plays, Pat. You could run a short play, pick up a big chunk, 20, 30 yards, get to around midfield, get out of bounds, and go for a Hail Mary pass. A couple different ways to look at it. Any play that's caught in bounds. If you get a first down, the clock is going to stop.
Here's Taylor. Going to throw it as far as he can. Eric Block came down with it, and that's the game. Auburn, the 71st Cotton Bowl. Auburn wins by 3 by a field goal, 42 yards in length. The only scoring in the second half.
Well played game.
Very well played. Nebraska took the opening kickoff and drove the length of the field, took a 7-0 lead, and looked totally in charge. Auburn adjusted, and Coach Tommy Tuberville said at the half, when Krista interviewed him, we've simplified things and we're going to play some football in the second half, and indeed they did.
Yeah, defensively they shut Nebraska down completely in the second half. Controlled the line of scrimmage, never let those backs get going, Lucky or Jackson. And they really stifled the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, Zach Taylor, in the second half.
Kenny Irons and David Irons, the brothers. David did a heck of a job on pass coverage and a couple of crushing tackles.
A couple of talented seniors will walk out here together winners. Zach Taylor will move on. His final game at Nebraska.
Zach Taylor perhaps has a future in the NFL. Here's how the scoring occurred today. You mentioned that Nebraska came out and looked very strong.
Swift caught that touchdown pass, a couple short fields. Fullback getting in there for a couple of times.
Auburn took advantage of a turnover. That drive took 9 yards. Then Nebraska came right back. Tied at 14-14. There's the winning field goal by Vaughn from 42 yards out against a little wind. 17-14 Auburn. We'll go to commercial right now as Auburn has won 17-14. We'll come back with the AT&T Trophy presentation in a moment.